Hi guys, it's Mrs. C back with Cycle 2, Week 4. So we'll jump in to geography. So we have the European rivers this week, and I have such fond memories of this week of European rivers because Cycle 2 was our first year in CC, and I had a little 3-year-old and a little 2-year-old boys that were listening to all of our CC stuff. And we did some fun hand motions, and you make that dog stop. And my daughter's class and my little 3-year-old just thought it was so great, and he did it, and I have the cutest video of him doing all of these hand motions. So we have the Seine River, Rhine River, Elbe, Po, Danube, and the Volga. So yeah, you want to say hi?
Yeah.
Okay, say hi.
Hi. Hi. Look, could you get some from the moon?
We got some owls in the moon on there. We need to change you out of your PJs, don't we? That's how we roll around here. PJ day.
It's on
All right, be careful, don't bump it. All right, go play, please. Okay, so we have the Seine River, and it runs down through, let's see, we're gonna do this one. Seine River, and then we have the Rhine River, and then we have the Elbe, and we're gonna point to our Elbe, and then Po, and you can't see me. Po, you kind of hit yourself in half, and then we cup like this, the Danube, and the V for Volga. And if you have your map out and are looking at your map, so the Seine River is running down through France. The Rhine River is up next to that. Yeah, sorry, I thought I was misreading those. Next to that, and then we have Elbe, but we're pointing to our elbow. There's not any like specific direction to that. It's just to help you remember. So Seine River, Rhine River, Elbe, and then we're gonna take that arm and like act like we're cutting ourselves in half with Po, because the Po River, let me make sure I'm telling you the right place, cuts in half, kind of cuts in half Italy. I thought that was right. And the Danube kind of scoops through Romania and Hungary. So we're gonna scoop with the Danube. And then the Volga is our big old river in Russia. And if you look at it, it actually more makes a Y, but we're doing a V for Volga, but then our hands are like this with it running down, and that's the shape of the Volga. So that's how I will introduce it to my students. For younger students, I would just kind of focus on them learning the names of all of them while pointing on the map and doing it. For the older ones, I will probably introduce that a little bit, but then we will just mostly work on finding it on the map and help them remember the clues of France, which we learned last week. The Seine River is in France, and then we have the Rhine River that's mostly through Germany. And Elbe is up above that one. And then we have Po cutting through Italy, Danube scooping through Hungary, and the Volga running through Russia. So that will be geography. We're gonna move over to math. So at this point in math, you're kind of like, oh my goodness, we're only halfway through the multiplication tables, so it might be time to make it more interesting and fun. I will probably at this point bring out my giant, I think my toddler ran away with it. I have a giant Pop-It. It has 225 dots on it, which is great for when you get up into week, let's see, what is week 15? Or not week 15, when we do the 15s, is week 10. So it's great to have it for then, but I'll probably go ahead and bring it out. What I do with that is, again, while the rest of the class is reciting through a times table, one student is trying to go through and do all of the little dots in the Pop-It and see how many they can get. I learned last year, because I've never really played with Pop-Its, I learned last year that there is a side that once it's popped all the way through, you can just take your finger and run it down and they will pop back. You don't have to actually press them. So if you do this and you actually have a competitive class that cares, you want to make sure that they get all reset to the right one before the next student, so that they aren't just being able to run their finger down and they can do it really quickly. So I'll probably break that out this week and let them have fun doing that. You could bring a few Pop-Its in, like smaller ones. You could bring them in for the class and let them just play with those while you're working on it, to give them something to do as you're having to say these long sections out loud. This might be a good week to start trying to break them up in between other strands that we're learning, just to kind of break it up, because it starts getting a little bit longer this week. So if you are doing skip counting, I have my folder here. These, I'm gonna try to find these for you guys. I haven't looked for them because I've printed them all and I haven't used them in a few years. But if you have a younger class, someone, not this past cycle, but the cycle before, oh, are you on your bike? Made these really awesome. So they're the giant number, and then they have all of the skip counting numbers inside of them. So she had them for all of the numbers. So I have 7 and 8 here, and they were all pretty and in color, but for my class, I just printed them in black and white. And then I would put them in a page protector back to back, and we would go through, and you could give them a dry erase marker and they could circle it, or you could give them a little character and they could jump from number to number. And I did that for multiple weeks because it was just so much easier. And sometimes up on the board, depending on how big your class is and how the setup is, it can be hard to see all those numbers and stay on track with all of the numbers. And some of them haven't even really ever said the number 100 and whatever. So I really like using these. I will try to find who did those and put it in the description box if I can find them again. I have seen several things like that on Pinterest, but unfortunately a lot of them don't go over to the number, or don't go all the way up to the number 15. So you just got to find one up to the number 15. So they wouldn't be too hard to make. I mean, you could just do it and have the numbers on a page and just have them go through the numbers that way, but those are really cute. So that is math. Okay, we're gonna go to English next. And okay, so in real life, I just recorded week 3, just like right before this video. If you're watching, you're probably like a week later. But if you're not and you just watched it, you know that last week, or a few minutes ago, I could not remember what third person was. Like, I thought that I was doing it right, and then I questioned myself on what I was doing. And had I only just looked across the page, I would have been told what third person was anyway. So sorry to confuse you all about that. But if you are more confused, we're going to learn it this week. So we have, again, the nominative pronouns. We haven't really had those, except that if you've been paying attention with our Latin conjugations, you've been seeing all of the nominative pronouns, because they are what we're writing on the English side of our conjugation endings. So we have, and we learned last week, the first, second, third, singular, and plural. So that's what our headings are going to be this week. So just kind of re-reference those and remind the kids this is how this is all plugging in and relating. So we have I, and I'm going to point to my I. So I have I, you, and then you might point he, she, it, like that. Okay. And then we have we, so go back and forth. And then you, because this is plural, so there's more of them. You, and then they out there. So I, you, he, she, it, we, you, like 2 hands over there, and then they, like a big group of people out there. Okay, so we'll do those for English. These aren't too difficult or hard, and you get through it your 7 times, but also like don't penalize yourself and think, oh, I didn't spend 4 minutes on that only took 2. It's fine. You just gotta get through it 7 times. Some of the pieces aren't gonna take that long, and that is okay. For Latin, I would probably move right into that because it connects so well, and we've got our, oh, you need purple? I don't know if I have purple. You wanna write on this paper? Okay. So we last week have introduced it and spent time last week focusing on making sure we're saying the words right, getting those words in. So this week I'll probably do something fun. I will re-reference them back to our cue cards, again, CC Connected Latin cue cards with our bomb, reminding us imperfect tense. Bomb, a bomb makes things imperfect. So we will start with bomb, boss, spot. And I will probably do hot potato this week, unless they like really request to do duck, duck, goose or something like that. But I'll probably just do hot potato. And I have been informed that I'm going to have a very active class, which is awesome. So I will probably have them do jumping jacks if they end up with the potato, which will most likely be one of my squishy footballs, because I like those. So that's what we will do for Latin. Doing that, you just kind of sing through the chant and you try not to get caught with the ball at the end of the chant. So for science, the food chain, so we have producer, consumer, decomposer. So producer, we'll probably like pretend like we're growing something. We do this a lot, I feel like, but we're producing something. And then consumer, we'll pretend like we're eating something. And decomposer will just kind of wilt down like this for our science. Let's see, we're going to history now. So I really like this song. I like a lot of the songs from this cycle, although they took out my favorite one, which was about Margaret Thatcher, and that one's not in there anymore, and that's like the one I remember the most. So I'm just gonna teach it to my kids, and at least my kids will remember that one. And if you remember it, you know what I'm talking about. It was jamming. Okay, so with this one, with mine, I'm probably going to have the sentence written out because I have older kids. So I'm going to have the sentence on paper written out and cut up and have them kind of put it together like a puzzle. So they have to get all the right pieces in order. And while they're doing that, I'll have the song playing. So we're hearing the song and they're kind of hearing the words. So pretty. Can I show them your picture? So Olivia made me a beautiful picture. So nice. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Just a minute. So I will have this printed out. I'll just cut it up. When I do that, I put them into baggies and I label the baggies and then I save them for the next time around so I don't have to do it again. And then that way they just have to work on getting everything in order for this one. I have seen before where people like had to pretend Magna Carta and had the kids go around and sign it while they listen to the history sentence, and that's kind of fun too. So yeah, so that's what my plan for history this week. If you have younger kids, obviously they can't, well, some of them can read, but some of them probably aren't reading yet. So there are some files. I think they're on CC Connected, but I think they're also on the tutor page that are picture files for each of the history sentences that basically have like illustrations for each section of the history sentence. So you could take those and do the similar thing where they have the pictures and they have to try to get their pictures in the right order. And you might have one up on the board done for them, so they're just kind of trying to mimic and match what you've done. Those, I really like the pictures for the kids. They work really well. So then we're just back to timeline. So we're at Native American, so we're gonna touch here to our ear and then our feather up here for early Native Americans. And then we're gonna have Israel divides into 2 kingdoms. And we have an H for Homer, H for Hesiod, and then Rome founded, so we're gonna take our fist and pound it, and then Romulus and Remus are 2 R's. And then we're gonna have Israel, and it's gonna fall, and we're gonna do our bow and arrow again for Assyria. And then bow and arrow again, Assyria falls to, if you're doing the actual Babylon, we're going to do a B with an L. For little ones, you might just do a B. Babylon. Lao Tzu, Confucius, and Buddha. So these were like philosophers. So you're going to take this and make a P for philosopher. It's going to go here and one on this side. So Lao Tzu, Confucius. And then you come down and hold your belly for Buddha, because Buddha has the big Buddha belly. So, and if you are in class with my child, I apologize in advance because he will sing and booty. It's inevitable. It happens every year, even though we talk about not doing it every year. He just can't help himself. So, oh, great. Thanks, Olivia. So anyway, that is all for this one. If you know you're a few weeks in, you notice your class is struggling with presentations, or maybe you have new parents who are having a hard time coming up with what to do, or you're just maybe not wanting show and tell every single week. Again, it's up to the parents what they want to do. Sometimes giving them a little guidance can be helpful, especially for new parents that just haven't seen them done or haven't seen a variety. There is on Half a Hundred Acre Wood, she has this really nice presentation list. I think I found this, I don't know. I've been all over the interwebs looking for stuff for this cycle. I've pretty much stayed in the tutor group and on CC Connected. So it's in one of those two places. I think it was CC Connected. But it has a really awesome just list. This actually has a schedule, but it's just a good idea list in general. You don't have to go by the schedule, just to give you some different things to do. And it also tells you some things to work on. So I've used this in the past. I keep it in my son's binder. So if we're struggling to figure out what he's going to do for presentation, because he'd be content to just take a toy every week, then we can kind of reference this and say like, hey, like let's try doing one of these instead this week. So that's just an idea to throw out there if you have some parents that are kind of wanting something new to do. So anyway, hope you guys have an awesome week. I will be back probably tomorrow, but in YouTube land next week with week 5. Thanks guys, bye.